Okay, today we're going to look at chapter 6.1 through 6.4 factoring worksheet and going to do a couple of examples from this worksheet. The first one we're going to look at is number 3, which is factoring out the GCF, or the greatest common factor, and then simplify the factors if possible. So looking at number 3, which is 56 x to the 8th y to the 9th plus 32 x cubed y to the 6th plus 16 x to the 6th y to the 3rd. So when looking at 56, 32, and 16, we see that each of them are divisible by 8. So we're going to pull out an 8 for the GCF of that. Then looking at x to the 8th, x to the 3rd, and x to the 16th, we see that each of them have an x to the 3rd. So we're going to pull out that factor. Then looking at y to the 9th, y to the 6th, and y to the 3rd, each of them have a y to the 3rd. So I'll pull out a y to the 3rd. So in the inner part, what we have left over is 56 divided by 8, which is 7. Then x to the 8th and x to the 3rd, the difference of those is 5. Then y's, we have 9 minus 3, which is 6 for the first term, plus 32 divided by 8, which is 4. X to the 3rd and x to the 3rd is 1, but we can cancel that out, so we don't need the 1. Then we have y to the 6th and y to the 3rd, which is y to the 3rd. And the last term, 16 divided by 8, which is 2. And then x to the 6th and x to the 3rd goes down to x to the 3rd, and y to the 3rd and y to the 3rd become 1, which we don't need. So there's that first one. Second one we're going to look at is number 7, which is factoring by grouping. And this one is 24r squared plus 18ry minus 4xr minus 3xy. So the first thing we're going to look at is the 24r squared plus the 18ry. Because we're doing by grouping, so we're going to look at the first two terms and then the last two terms. So looking at the 24r squared and the 18ry, we see that 6 is a factor of both the 24 and the 18. And then we also see that there's a common r between the two terms. So inner side, then it's 24 divided by 6, which is 4. And we only pulled out one r, so we still have another r. And then plus 18 divided by 6 is 3. Then we have the r's will cancel. And then we have the y still. For the second set, the negative 4xr minus 3xy, what would be the best thing to do, because we're trying to get the second part to be equal to 4r plus 3y. So we're going to pull out the negative. And between the two terms, there's also an x for the GCF, so we'll pull out the x. Then in parentheses, we still have 4r. The minus is gone, so that's a plus 3y. And we see that these two terms are the same, which is what we want. So then we have 4r plus 3y times the 6r minus the x. So 6r minus x. And that is number 7. In the next video, we'll go over the next examples.